Coming up on the 2 and 5 podcast.
I fell in love in Louise, Texas.
Welcome to this week's edition of the 2 and 5 podcast.
I fell in love in Louise, Texas. Let's get into it.
Well, so where we left off was the Tall Cowboy still doesn't know where I stand, especially after the disappointment in Lane City of but
The professionalism.
But you- I mean,
the
you-
professionalisms.
a lot of I'd imagine that most people have been there. We're just like, where am I? Where do I stand? And you know, there's that point in a relationship where you're just driving yourself nuts, trying to figure out where. And but
We're rolling with marketing for the regulator, and my team needed updated pictures of the progress on the regulator. We're trying to create content without any actual food. All we had was the building. They're swamped. I didn't want to make them drive to El Campo to Louise, so I said, I'll go. It's the weekend, it's empty. I'll roll out and get pictures. So I sent Brent and Jeff a message and said, I'd like to come out and take some pictures. Is it okay?
so I'm like, I didn't know if Brent was going to plan on coming to this or not. So I'm like, I'm wanting some one-on-one time. Or like, yeah. And so I'm trying to get Liz to come to my house in El Campo's restaurants in Louise, and she can just ride with me to the restaurant. And she's not having it.
I
She
said
knows-
no. Ladies, no is a complete sentence. I was like, no. So I said, I'll meet you at the regulator.
And Brent didn't show.
Brent did not show. Thank you. We met up at the regulator, and he greets me in the parking lot, and
Like Pier 36.
just like Pier 6, literally before we could even say a word, we kissed, and it just felt like the right time. The right move. I don't know how you explain it. And then Jeff wanted to take me on a tour of Louise, Texas. So I hopped in his truck and we went driving around, which I think is just such a sweet way to spend time with each other. To this day, all we do is drive around together and talk and unpack and
I looked at the
discuss
water
and-
there one last time.
Yeah, the Louise
There was a big
tower.
controversy in town because it's like all little towns. Your water tower is iconic.
Yeah.
And so, but we're on the Gulf Coast, and this water tower was up for since the 1950s, and apparently had gotten the salt air had done its toll, and the water tower was no longer viable.
We mourned the forthcoming removal of the water tower.
It was quite the social media upstir about the people wanting to preserve the water tower, and then those that didn't want the thing falling and killing somebody. And so, but at the end of the day, we said goodbye to we did not climb on it and write
No.
Jeff loves
No.
Liz
No.
and John Deere Green or anything like that. Like,
No. But it really was sort of the next, it opened a new chapter for us of sort of beginning again and
Well,
taking next
it
steps
felt
with
like
one another.
at this point
Yeah.
it was a committed relationship.
Yeah.
We had never got to that, but at this point in the journey, it was, I don't know, it's called I Fell in Love in Louise.
I did fall in love in Louise. So after that, we started to develop this relationship of having long distance between Galveston and El Campo. And I think very naively, we thought we could keep that up for a long time. And our plan was make transitions as easy as possible for everyone. Jeff's house could accommodate all of us. My house could accommodate all of us. So we set up bedrooms, and we really wanted our families to be together. So we started this process of the back and forth and spent the majority of the summer just burning up 59 almost on a daily basis back and forth between Galveston and El Campo, and very quickly realized that it was not a sustainable
But
situation.
we didn't like sleep support. No sleeps apart.
That's right. Our goal was, I think your safety goal is like 0 incidents. We wanted 0 sleeps apart because we've always felt like we were stronger together, and that's one of our 2 and 5 core values is that we're stronger together. We love spending time together. It's where we're most creative. It's where we're strongest. It's where we feel most powerful together as a couple, and our relationship is strongest is when we're together. And I understand that that's not everyone's journey and that people are wired differently, but Jeff and I just have always felt stronger together, and so our goal was always no sleeps apart.
So I'm kind of a deal guy, and so this is where the point that I make. It's probably the best deal ever made. And
It's the best deal I've ever made.
So Liz, she likes nice things, and she wanted a ring wrap.
I did. For my whole life. I mean, since I've had an Aggie ring, I've wanted a ring wrap.
So the ring wrap goes on. It goes on either side of the Aggie ring. If you show the. So the Aggie ring is here. The ring wrap can be separated from the ring. It's not all one ring. And so she asked me. She said, "I want to set a goal for myself to around my. She's very sensible with spending, and she just didn't want to go buy it. She wanted, if I achieve a goal, then I could justify it in her mind. And so she said, what's a good goal for me to set for 5 and 2 or marketing company, like a bonus where I get my ring wrap? And so I said, I got an idea, but I'm not going to tell you now. And so we met back out at Lane City because Liz was president of the Galveston SPCA, and they had a parrot. And the parrot found a new home, got rehomed to Lane City, which Paco is thriving today. And so Liz delivered Paco Parrot to Lane City, and I pulled her aside and said, I got the idea. I told her, I said, I want to buy you the ring wrap, but you, because Liz is a writer, I said, you have to write the story of us. So for a one-time deal, she has to write a but she wasn't thinking about that. And she's, to pay somebody of her caliber, that's
heck of a deal. Heck of a deal. All that to say that I love writing. I write every day. I journal every day. But I think that I've developed a practice that is not mine. It's not proprietary to me, of like every day writing down 5 things that I'm grateful for and then 10 goals for 10 years. It's a very common writing practice. And I think it helps me personally to slow down and to cultivate more gratitude about my day and the blessings in my day, to pay attention to detail. I'm a big detail person, and I think that we can get really caught up in the day-to-day where we just spin through the days and they're a blur. But when we're able to like sit down and put words on and gratitude on specific moments or occurrences and things that happen, then we cultivate gratitude on a daily basis. It becomes part of our practice. It becomes part of who we are when we develop habits of that. And so in writing our story, it allowed me to cultivate the same gratitude towards our relationship in writing down the detail of the things that we were experiencing, the emotions, the feelings, our journeys, our travels, our adventures, the things that we had spoken about. And I can't tell you how many times we go back and read through it, and it becomes like such a source of joy and feeling of accomplishment and just sheer gratitude for him, for us as a couple, and that we have documented somewhere the story of us. So if you don't have a practice that way, I can tell you, you don't need a special notebook or anything, that you can just put lines and numbers on a paper and on a daily basis just develop a practice of gratitude. And so we had been to College Station several times. Aggieland is very special to both me and Jeff. We're both Aggies. We love College Station. My parents live close to College Station, and
wait. So, all right. So she accepts the deal. And so she doesn't forget. And so Liz, she probably went on that moment to Wynn's ring day. So there was a special day in College Station when the kids are getting their rings. They had the ring wrap company set up at a jewelry store there, and I had lost my Aggie ring in Turks and Caicos many years later, and I hadn't replaced it, and so we went and ordered my ring on the day that we went to pick up my ring, when it was ready with the rest of the rings. The ring wrap people were set up, and so I got my Aggie ring back, and then we went to the ring wrap place, and then Liz and the girls showing on the ring wraps, and they start at the lowest carat, and I'm thinking, all right, I don't know, I've obligated myself to buy this ring wrap. We start at the lowest carat. That's real pretty. We'll try the next one, the more carat. And so we go from the lowest carat to the highest carat ring wrap. Can anyone guess where we ended?
If you know me, you'll know that I do like nice things. But the deal was that, I mean, this was something that I had intended to buy for myself. So if I were to make the choice, that was the one that I wanted. So I ended up with a very impressive ring wrap that day. And Jeff ended up with the story of us. And
I got lifetime of
lifetime.
servitude.
Yeah.
Indentured servitude as an author.
So we continued to burn up the roads, and we had spent several weekends in College Station for business, for our ring wraps, for different things, and just thinking about the needs that we had as a family, and somewhere that we could nest all of our family.
We didn't know where we were going to land.
Yeah.
El Campo did not work for us, and Galveston did not work for us, and for a multitude of reasons, and we didn't know where would be a good spot. And so we came to, like, let's say we were here for business, and it's like, why not College Station? And so Liz, the FBI, the internet shiz, starts searching for potential houses.
And we were so disappointed. We couldn't find a single house that worked for us. We have, to be clear, 5 kids, 2 adults, and we didn't have a ton of needs, but we needed a house that would suit all of us, and we just could not find. It was like dead end after dead end after dead end. We went back to El Campo that night after we'd been looking all day, and we were just so disappointed. We came home to Jeff's pool being completely green. We were just like miserably disappointed, and the reality that like we couldn't sustain the going back and forth because we were neglecting things on both home fronts, and that there was no possibility that seemed realistic. So we slept on it. And I got up the next morning, and God spoke very clearly into me that I needed to be very Liz-like about this search. And I'm an Enneagram 3. I'm very goal-oriented. I'm very mission-driven, very competitive. And so I popped open my laptop and I started a spreadsheet, and the very first house that came up was the house that we ended up buying, and it was absolutely perfect. And really the rest is history. Like, I think, again, where Jeff and I are shown so many times that that having faith and trusting in our relationship and trusting in the path that God has for us is really all that we need to do. And that can be a really hard thing. That can be very hard, and that doesn't mean that we won't be disappointed and we won't be challenged, and that we won't think it's a setback sometimes. But that, I think that's probably one of the strongest characteristics of our relationship is our faith in one another and in God and God's plan for us and our family.
So,
because it's crazy, right? I mean, we met on January 5th. We moved to College Station in August. So most people would look at the timeline of that relationship, especially with the collateral of so many children and families and businesses and lives, and think, y'all are nuts and that's way too fast. And I would say, like, had you talked to me before January 5th of last year, I would have agreed with you. But
it's truly when you know, and it sounds crazy, and we've heard those stories before, and I thought they were crap myself, but I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you know, when you find the right one, it's easy.
It is. It can be easy. We always tell each other that it can be easy. And that doesn't mean that the day to day is easy because it's hard, like raising kids and dogs and running companies and all of the decisions that come along with it. Those parts are hard, but it can be easy when you love and respect and value one another. And that's just such a big part and one of our values as a relationship. So
So that's Falling in Love and Louise. Next time, Sweet Home College Station.
Sweet Home College Station.